turning it on in Wi-Fi, it wouldn't necessarily be able to see anything over the line.
I mean, you can do that in Linux, but it takes work. You have to tell it specifically do it this way,
Just this one.
out of the box.
It's automatically.
So
All you've got out of the box is one file. It's the export FS.
and one of the troubleshooting steps was make sure your firewall allows on both interfaces or what, or on
Yeah.
the interface. My firewall isn't even turned on. I mean, that shouldn't affect.
You'd be surprised with that big firewall size.
Well, both sides are
Hey, Art.
Linux.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Yeah, I don't
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yep, no problem.
I was always amused that you had to turn the firewall off to rename a thing. That never made sense to me. But it was Windows, so yeah.
Well, I mean, I went through all the troubleshooting, all of them. That website that you told us about, the
Server world.
World website. I ran through all the NFS steps again just to make sure that I was doing it right.
Something got
Short-
missed.
Short of uninstalling and reinstalling,
I won't go.
which I don't think would help. But I just was like, you've got to be kidding me. The weird part about it though, is even when the Wi-Fi connection is up and running, it doesn't drop connection now. It's connected to both the LAN
The wireless.
and the Wi-Fi. And everything's working fine and it's not dropping connection. And I'm like, I guess I'm just going to leave it the hell alone because it works.
Mhm.
I just thought you would like to know that it worked, but
Mhm.
it didn't really work the way it was supposed to.
Well. Well, how do you wire these both of your things? They're on the same. Like your wired stuff on the same IP scheme as the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, and in general, I don't have a problem communicating between. I mean, it's all coming off the same modem. So in general, I don't have a problem communicating. Same
I'm just wondering if you have like a router go or something in your. Something somewhere in your network that's blocking you from the LAN access and.
well,
Cause I got, so because I have a really weird setting in my place, like, so like. Half, like, my computers are behind an internal firewall, and then I've got a Google stupid puck from
yeah,
all fiber. So it's got a completely different IP scheme. And in order for me to be able to punch, I have to make routes for the Wi-Fi stuff to see,
I don't have that. I know what you're saying, but no, it's all, so he gave me was it a switch or a hub?
Switch.
He gave me a switch, which
On that gear gigabit.
solved a lot of weird problems that I was having. But that switch is plugged into the back of the AT&T router / modem, whatever they call it. And that's serving the Wi-Fi for everything in the house, and it's serving the LAN. It's serving two LANs. I've still got the slower LAN connected for the phone and for the other thing. But one of my printers has to connect to the LAN. So but that's on the 100 side, not the gigabit side. The NUC is on the gigabit side, and the NUC is running Nextcloud, Image, and the NFS drive, and that's all it's doing. That's all it does.
And it's plugged in the gig.
It's plugged in, it's plugged into the Giganet. It was exclusively Wi-Fi, but it would disconnect and reconnect and disconnect and reconnect. And so,
And then stable.
yeah, it really wasn't stable. So the switch fixed the stability problem. But the problem was I could get to it, I could ping it, I could do all the fun, happy stuff while it was just on the LAN. But I couldn't get to the NFS drives. So I turned the Wi-Fi back on, and boom, NFS came right up.
So you may have a firewall running. By default, UFW is on and enabled. Unfirewall.
But that's the other thing too, is like both those links are gonna have different IPs.
Yes,
So if you
it's true. They both do have different IPs.
got your shared set to a specific IP, the other one won't be listening for.
The from what I have been able to see in the configuration, I wish I would have copied the configuration file, but from what I have been able to see, it's not bound to any specific IP address. It's just the generic, and then the generic subnet for the router. So it's not bound to any.
Yeah, well, but like you're saying, that so the U-Fire, if you weren't using the LAN port and you set it all up on Wi-Fi, they would have auto installed the rules for the Wi-Fi NIC. You're gonna have to apply those rules to the LAN NIC. Probably forget to listen.
So,
unless that's pulling two different, I mean, you should be pulling two different IPs.
but I've looked at the. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like the firewall's on. If you go to the menu and you click on firewall, it doesn't show that it's actually on and running. I would have assumed that it was on by default too, but. And it may be a firewall. I mean, it could
Well,
it
I'm
could
just
very
trying to
well be.
toss out weird things, cause it's like you're gonna have two different IP addresses for the same LAN, and one would be listening, one wouldn't be, depending on how you set up your software and when you set it up. You find
It's a very odd,
yeah, well, that's
because
I
like-
do some
like-
strange stuff too, so I mean, that's, you know.
like I've got Nextcloud and I've got Image running, both server based.
So just discovered this. Oops. When you go there, it
Yeah.
looks like it's off.
It does look like it's off.
If you select Office, and it's slow because this is an amazingly slow machine.
Oh
That's
my
on.
gosh,
And then
different profile.
in there,
Well,
that's what it's doing.
I set up like 5 different NIC cards on one box, so
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, it is. And the one that's supposed to be AXXI only is for some reason being given an IP scheme from
So-
OpenSense that's overriding.
So what you're saying, it's almost like it bound to a different profile than what I think I'm running?
Could be, yeah.
Okay,
Try
I'll try it.
Try system control UFW or system control
Because
disable dash now UFW.
because it looks like UFW is not running.
Well, it might not be running
It
on
may be that when you
one,
install,
but it's on the other NIC.
maybe that when you installed NFS, it saw that you had one interface, and so it auto set that up.
auto-populated that
Yeah.
interface. Okay, well. It's something to try.
There's a lot of things, but that's where I would start.
Who would have thought that it would have had two or more profiles? I would have just assumed.
I'll just say each thing has its own.
Well, no, I understand net cards would have their own profile, but I mean, who would have thought that he selected office and then home, and it's two different profiles, and there's another one, right? There was a third profile.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So
Oh.
on your several interfaces machine, do you want to really play with that? I've got a pile of 4-port Intel cards.
You know, so that's because of that box has the 2 gig or that 10 gig you gave me. And one of them's not even allowed on the OpenSense, and for some reason OpenSense is doling out IP addresses on it. So I don't know how that happened, but it's real annoying. But if I shut down OpenSense, then it works fine.
See, I
Get
think-
the EXI server then.
I think what confuses me the most, or what confused me, maybe, was Nextcloud and Image both work, so I assume that the firewall was actually doing what the firewall should do. I mean, without the Wi-Fi turned on, they both work. They both work no problem, so I assume that the firewall was just off, that it had selected that profile. And maybe it did select the other profile.
Possible. There's a lot of tricky stuff, and I don't use. I mean, I use Linux a whole lot more than I used to, but I'm not that great with it. But I'm slowly migrating off my Windows box.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I'm just done with it. But the thing is my Windows 10 box. I know it inside and out. I've got, I don't know, 8 terabytes of drives in it. They're all full, so I know it is like all my games are on it, all my stuff's on it, all my apps and tools I use are on it, and it's like trying to pull that off and put it on another box, and I don't have another computer that has the capacity to absorb that much apps, because all of a sudden 4 terabyte drives cost $1,500, and
Seriously?
yeah,
4 terabyte drives?
yeah.
How many
The
do you need?
NVMe, the new 5th gen NVMe drives are like
Oh.
$1,400 now. They were $300 a month ago.
It's the memory prices. Memory is just
Yeah,
because we have to
Do
service the
commercial.
AI.
yeah.
The AI.
And Micron has stopped manufacturing all hard drives and NVMe's and RAM. They've dissolved their Corsair line.
To service the AI.
There. Well, and that's what I was looking at. So the Western Digital is currently the fastest drive. It is $1,500. If you verify your account at Micro Center, they will take $500 off.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah. So I don't know what they mean by
That's-
verify your account, but the
Give them your credit
When-
card and your
when I-
firstborn.
built the box, the 4 terabyte Samsung drive was $300. And right now it's on sale for $900. And I'm like, mother.
I was watching some video somewhere, and they basically said we will never own our computers again because all the parts have just gotten
Well, that's what HP
outrageously expensive, and HP
CEO
is
this week said that you should rent an Omen computer when
Yep.
you need to borrow one.
HP is leasing computers to consumers.
Yep. Siemens has gone to all rented computers. We no longer own any.
Yep.
And so I have a i7 I Ultra. I don't know. It's brand new. The thing came off the assembly line.
Oh, like the 265, like
Uh,
K off or whatever.
Yeah. It came off the assembly line about 2 weeks before Christmas.
How much that is hard?
I swear to God, my i7 8th gen is a
Faster.
better computer.
It is. That's the reason why I went with the EMD.
They,
It runs circles around it. The specs are crazy. The 14th and 15th gen stuff is just trash.
Mhm.
I just find it interesting. Cause there's some positives and there's definitely some negatives to leasing your computer. Cause it's locked down, you can't really do anything with it, so it's not yours. And if
I
you,
have issues with that.
and if you, what was the thing? After a year, you could trade trade it up for whatever the next
Mhm.
is, which just might be a bonus. But you have to turn it in. You can't do like a buyout. You can't
Keep it.
Somebody steals it, you've got to
Well,
file an insurance claim.
Well, that's my darling thing is like, do they monitor everything you do on it, like Windows 11's doing?
Right.
So,
I think that if you get one that has Windows 11 and you wipe it, I bet you'd get a call.
Yeah. So. They're not entirely cheap, but I guess if you can afford it, if you're the kind of person that upgrades every year or every other year,
yeah,
it might actually be worth it, because
that's crazy Apple people.
Yeah. They ruined it for everybody.
Well, as you say, there's a market of people that just have that kind of money and they'll burn it. I'm sorry, I don't see why you spend the $1,500 for a $30 phone.
this is, I believe that we decided that this laptop is first generation and it's an i7 and it runs fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it's quick and fast
I
and
say in generation, the first one was phenomenal. It still, I mean, well, I think the 7th gen was the first one to compete with it. And the 8th gen just outperformed it by like 1%.
well,
Because it had tri-RAM chip access.
from everything I have read, the 8th gen that's the sweet spot. That's the one, if you can get it, that's the one you want.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm saying. The only difference between the 1st gen and 8th gen is some of the instruction sets. Speed wise, the 1st gen still technically outperforms it because of that's the first generation where the RAM was fast enough to compete with the 1st gen being tri-chipped. Because the tri-RAM bus computed the 2nd through 7th gen and the 8th gen chip out. And I said, it's only a 1% performance boost, but it adds instruction sets. So if you're using Adobe Photoshop or want to do VR stuff, the VR backend is in there or like your video codecs for onboard CPU video rendering, which the 1st gen didn't have. So, but if you're just doing general computing, 1st gen computer will do everything you want it to do.
And then some. I mean,
Yeah, I still got 3. And I mean, they outperformed all the i5s and i3s and crap. I mean, it's like the shit's 20 years old. Like Intel has not progressed the bar. AMD's the only reason the Intel's starting to try
Well,
Yeah.
AMD was the only reason why Intel tried in the first place. I mean,
Well, but that's, I mean, AMD has, with what Apple has done with their new silicon, has showed that they could have been making way better computers for quite a while. And now AMD stepped into the multi-thread processing and copying Apple's onboard RAM stuff a little bit and putting the stuff in that they can actually, AI crunch way more data than the Intels can.
I have two AMD Ryzen 5 machines, which those two machines are just phenomenal. I love, one of them is a tad bit newer than the other, but they're both phenomenal machines.
Yeah.
But this is impressive because this is first generation.
Well, if you ever get to play, I've still got one. I haven't used it for a while, but the first Microsoft tablet one circled around the next 7 generations of the tab or the Microsoft Surface or whatever.
The first Surface?
Yeah. Like you can pull up what's that? 3D app drawing stuff on Bryce or something. One of my guys used it a lot. It's a modeler. I can't remember. Starts with a B. That whole thing. I remember that. Anyhow, we had all our engineers and the VPs and everything want the new generation Surface, so we gave them all the new generation Surface, and he messed with that for like modeling how the crates and stuff go together. And it was like when you pulled them up on those new ones, it's like you like 2-3 frames of a second, or sometimes it was a frame every 4 or 5 seconds. On that first gen Surface, you sit there and spin it and would spiral around, and it never slowed down a bit. And I was like, there's something wrong with what they're doing. I think they're
Blended.
blended. Yeah, that's what it was.
I've avoided
like
getting
getting
Surface.
Purposely getting crappier and crappier and crappier to stall the technology. It's just, it's been like that for 20 years, it seems like. No,
I
mean, XP still runs, circles around.
XP was probably the I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
XP running in a VM is pretty comfortable.
yeah,
Windows 7 was
I like 98 SE. Honestly, it was one of my favorite, but
I always liked ME, but I got a good copy of it. So yeah,
you got one of the 8 computers
I
that ran
got one
on.
of the 8 computers that it would run on, yes.
I had a friend that we played LAN parties with and stuff, and he swore by it. He said it was the best operating system he ever had. And the only thing I could ever figure out was he bought one of the computers that it was designed around that had all the drivers and worked fine, because he never had a problem with it. I looked at it and we were we hung out a lot, and he was like, he never had a glitch with it, but man, I couldn't make that shit run worth. I moved off it so fast. I couldn't see straight because my box is blue screen every other day.
I never had a major problem with ME. A lot of little minor problems, but nothing major. I never had a problem with XP. XP was rock solid.
I never
7 was fairly solid.
XP did really, really well for me, but I had a couple of machines where you had to go out and get some drivers like the via something driver.
I almost always, when we were using XP a lot, I almost always had to download drivers. But I mean, that's just a cost of doing business. That's not.
Yeah. Well, it was, I had no issue with going to get the drivers until he was like,
Yeah.
you got to pass a yearly subscription if you want access to our drivers. And I'm like, wait, what?
Well,
And
that's when you start copying your your drivers because you've
Well,
got
that's
all the
the
same machines.
How many people hung on to the drivers? It's like, to go find that old Via driver.
I had stacks of CDs that were nothing
Yeah.
but drivers.
Well, I've got a buddy that hung on to all the capture tools for EXXI
Yeah,
to convert a machine into a VM.
yeah.
So, I mean, he's got like 1.3 or something through 7 or whatever it is. They're up to 8, 9 now. So if you come across like an XP box, that needs version 2.2 through 2.8, and he has it still,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hang on to that kind of stuff because I
When-
don't
when-
run
when-
into it much.
When we had the shop, I mean, I had stacks of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that stuff anymore. But
But
it,
he makes me wish I'd paid more attention to hanging on to things like that. Because he gets some weird gigs because of that, it's like, that'd be kind of cool to do.
I liked, as limited as it was, I liked 95. 98 was bad, but 98 SE was good.
98, I didn't think was bad.
Yeah, well, SE,
But it wasn't as pretty as, like, at that point, where you run to 95 version 2 or whatever, ran really smooth. So 98 was a little buggier, but then SE really
SE fixed
ironed
it.
it all out. And I never had any issues with that.
SE fixed it. And then
Except that needed the Via driver too for that motherboard I had.
XP, and I never had a problem with ME. I had huge problems with Vista, mainly because it was just memory hungry. It just wanted
I never
memory.
touched Vista. I went to the Vista launch. They gave me the disk. I never used it until I used it to install Windows 7 because the keys from Vista worked on 7.
I
never touched Vista.
had
Then
like 2 or 3 machines that were Vista certified, but they were minimum spec Vista certified. And they were just dog slow. And, running Windows 7, they were nice and snappy and fast, but Vista was just, oh my gosh. And, the only thing that would fix it is sticking more RAM in, and it wasn't as expensive as it is now, but it was expensive back then. It's like, nope. So,
yeah, stuff right now is just dumb.
But-
I should have splurged, bought the
I
bigger drive and
see, I have always been under the opinion that Windows 8 was okay if they wouldn't have called it Windows. If they would have named it anything other than Windows, it might have caught on.
Too many changes too quick. That was the problem with Heat.
I was gonna say 8 to me wasn't a Windows, it was a tablet interface.
Yeah,
And they meant it to be.
and it was meant to be a tablet interface or a phone interface. It was meant to be a convergence between your phone and. This was when Windows phones were a thing.
Well, they built Windows Phone and built Windows 8 around to be interfaceable with the phone.
So,
But I'm sorry, you can't add a new dimensional scrolling capability that the computer doesn't have the capability of doing.
well, I had a couple of touchscreen Windows 8 machines,
Yeah.
and they worked fine. I mean,
Yeah.
the interface made perfect sense with a touchscreen.
You had to have a touchscreen. How many computers were touchscreen? And you had no way to control left and right on a computer. So,
But-
that if you had converted your scrolly bar to be left and right and got rid of the up and down, then I've been like, yeah, okay, this was kind of usable. But having both was like, are you stupid?
It was usable with a touchscreen.
Mhm.
I think the problem was, you say Windows, you expect certain things. You expect a start button, and you expect, X's and
stuff, yeah. Like I said,
expanded and collapsing and all this. And Windows 8 did not give any at 8.1. They went, oh, okay, we'll put the start bar back and we'll do this.
Well, that was the other thing that cracked me up about 8 was the mail didn't even work out of the box.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm not saying that I liked it, but it was named wrong. If it was named anything other than Windows, people wouldn't have hated on it so much.
Well,
In my opinion, people would not have hated on it so much.
it deserved its hate, but like I said, on a Surface or something like that, and a touchscreen all-in-one computer, I could see it being fine, but that was the other thing too. How many people that work on a desktop computer want fingerprints all over their screen? You know, that you're trying to work on and read documents, you know, it's just.
I don't know, several of my all-in-one machines are touchscreen and
Yeah,
I have kind of gotten used to touching them.
yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I run
You
Linux.
get
I run Linux on everything, but
a couple hundred
touchscreen works. I mean,
fingerprints on the bottom half and trying to read a document, just or watch a movie with all the fingerprints on it. It's just, it's never a thing. Like I said, on a tablet or on a phone, it was great. Putting it on the and when they what was it 8.2 when they had the toggle where you could actually have a desktop.
8.1 added like
I
a
thought it was
desktop.
a second generation after the 8.1.
8.1 kind of had, you either had desktop mode or whatever they
the tile mode.
tile mode, whatever they called that.
When they added back the desktop style where you can toggle,
Was it
I almost started to kind of like it. It wasn't bad, but it
The-
was slow.
the problem, the biggest problem that I don't think it was bad. And I don't think it deserved quite as much hate as it got. But they did not know how to integrate the old and the new and make it a seamless thing. I mean, you still had the old control panel inside of Windows 8,
Oh,
but you had settings inside of Windows 8, and the two control panels
right.
conflicted with each other and told you that things were different. Almost like having a firewall that's not on, but it really is.
It was
I mean,
it was recent with this stuff. Had a lot of issues.
One of the things that irritates me more and more every time I look up, how do I do X in Windows? It's click start, type settings, and select the third thing down. There's only 2 things in the list. What?
Yeah, move stuff around.
A lot.
Well,
It's,
well,
and I don't know if it's Siemens' fault because nothing I own runs Windows.
So Microsoft, especially in the last, I'll say since COVID, they just completely rewrite or strip functionality or replace the tooling about every 6 months. So the instructions are from 3 years ago are completely irrelevant.
Mhm.
well, see, that's
And then they never updated any of the documentation.
I kind of have an issue with the website you gave us, Server World or whatever. That's great.
It, by the way, has a 1 page on setting up UFW.
Okay. Well, I've gone through it pretty good, I thought.
Oh, but not for Mint, it's for Ubuntu 24.04 LTS.
Yeah.
Because that's what Mint's based on right now.
But
22.04, sorry.
if you Google anything, any problem with Linux, you'll come across fixes that don't apply to modern Linux. You have to like be very specific about what it is, what version, and
That's becoming a huge issue because of all the stupid AI overlay they have stuck in the rib searches. Because I am finding it really hard to find information on anything from the last year.
And honestly, that's why I asked Steve more about what's wrong with my systems anymore, because it, Googling this stuff is,
Google has become almost useless.
it's just, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I see that. No, that's not what it does. Oh,
Welcome back.
are your parents doing good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 pounds more, but okay.
I actually haven't used AI for a few months. And I busted out like ChatGPT. It's on a whim like Monday or Tuesday, and fed it all the specs of all the machines I got and said, what should I do with these? And it laid out how to configure them and which ones would be best for this, or this, and it said, how would you like, what would you like to do? Do you want to use them for media? Do you want to use them for security? Do you want to use for home lab? Do you want it for this, or then, tell me whether you want to do this through Proxmox or ESXi. And I was like, well, I'd like to do this as my primary with this as a secondary with, like, say, Proxmox. And it came back and said, well, use this computer with these parts in it for this. Here's how you deploy this. Here's the commands to put this on. Here's the 10 apps I recommend installing for this. Come back through later and put your security apps for this, and this, and name your machines this. Just all in one big ass chart, and I was like, holy shit, this is so much nicer than
And it actually is.
and it's
Mostly
decent
right.
information. Well, and that's what I was like floored that it was just like, here's recommendations of which computers I'd use for this, and which ones I'd use for that. And
So-
like these aren't all that great anymore.
So
I'm just like, holy crap, this one's like a small data center in your home. Like, you're
Wait.
nuts.
when I bought all those laptops, the listing for those laptops just had them in a box.
Mhm.
You couldn't really tell what they were. And so I took that and I took the picture and I dropped it in the Google image search. And Google image search went, well, I'm not 100% sure, but the first one is definitely this. And when I Googled what it said it was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's right. And then it listed like 3 other possibilities of what the other 2 were. And it was right. I mean, 2 of those machines it was right on. I mean,
Yeah.
and I was like, how the hell does it know this just on a crappy ass picture that you can't even see the whole entire thing?
Yeah. Some of it's pretty impressive. I was floored because I even threw in there like that P40, and it was like, oh yeah, I think that's an awesome card. Put it in this machine. You won't get peak performance out of it, but it'll do
It'll do what you
really
want.
well for a home,
It'll do
thing,
what you want to do.
right? And it's like if you're doing for media, install TDRR or something for the transcoding, and or Jellyfin, and it'll do your flyby multi-process conversion for media. Or if you're going to do AI, it's like, but then it was like, if you're putting this in the Dell 7910, you're going to need to 3D print a shunt to blow the coolant fan, because it was designed, this board was designed to be in a server rack, right? With the airflow thing, because there's no fans on the P40. And I was like, that's pretty impressive. I almost asked it to make me an STL for the 3D fan mount.
So
to see what it do.
So far, all the, I don't know, you may have had better luck, but so far all the AI generated STL files that I have come across have had some issues.
Pokies.
Yeah.
Well, I've never tried it before. I just the fact that it was like, yeah, this is a great card. Put it in this machine, and this is here's the two really good uses for that card and what you're wanting to do, and because then it was like, it even told me how to break out and say, because if you are doing media and are interested in AI, it's like put them, drop in Ubuntu and put them all on one machine so you can pass that card to the whole stack, and then it doesn't have to fight over drivers, or it would be as hard to configure to share that resource between like sea containers and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of slick.
I,
Then it was saying, it's like that case isn't designed to cool that card. It's gonna get hot. You're gonna need to add an auxiliary coolant system of some kind and 3D print you a ductwork because it needs forced air.
I,
And I
I,
was like, that's pretty nice instructions.
I
I
bought
thought,
I bought a pallet that had a couple of old computers on it. And I knew what one of them was, but I dropped the picture of the pallet in
Mhm.
and it told me
that was-
what most of them were. And it even said, based on the picture, it looks like one is missing a power supply. And you could see it. I mean, it was definitely missing a power supply. I'm like, yeah. And then it said, based on this pallet, it's probably a parts pallet and other
Yeah.
parts will be missing. And I'm like,
yeah. Likely.
yeah. Of course, the listing already said that it was a parts pallet. I just wanted to know what it was I was getting.
Yeah. That's what drives me bonkers about some of those garbage deals things, because the guys don't have a clue what the hell the shit is. It just says pilot desktops. And it was like, well,
Yeah.
which models? Are we talking 30-year-old ones? Or are we talking 10-year-old one? I can't tell by the picture.
Do you have RAM in them? Do they
Yeah.
have the hard drives? Do
Yeah.
they?
Well, that's the thing too, with like the UC sales, and like you see there's some dude down there stripping the RAM out of everything. It ain't worth buying it from them, because you can't, you're gonna spend 3 times more money to buy the RAM to make the computer functional again.
Especially now.
Yeah.
But I looked at this, the one pallet, I was going up to pick up some other stuff that I had won, and I said, the hell, I'll throw a $15 bid on it.
Mhm. I haven't been doing a lot of tracking anyway.
So
Last 2 machines I've actually gotten were off of Fast Track, honestly, and they actually both work, which I was shocked.
the
Because the first one I bought off Fast Track, I got burned.
what I have seen over the past month, maybe, I can't get a computer reasonable. Even the old ones are bringing stupid, crazy money. And the only thing I can figure is,
It's getting tight.
well, we can't own them anymore, and memory and everything else is too damn expensive. So
Memory and NVMe drives are hard or high. So that's pushing people back into the older gen stuff. DDR4 is going up.
yeah,
And
I looked at Patty. There was one machine that I was looking at, and I was like, "Oh, if it goes reasonable, I'll pick it up." And in my mind, reasonable was like $30. It ended up selling for like 150, and I'm like,
you see
"You're insane."
I kind of glanced over it. I didn't read it all, but there was an article yesterday. So Microsoft's losing market share,
Go
right?
figure that out.
And they rolled out their, I don't know if it's a 26H1 patch or something like that, which is breaking a lot of stuff. But they announced in their 26H2 patch that is going to allow all hardware to run Windows 11.
Oh, that's nice.
So they're going to remove all the restrictions, block out, allegedly for computers that are capable of running Windows R8. They'll be able to run, after all these years of telling everybody you have to have a 9th gen or newer computer because Linux is eating their lunch. They're, I guess, gonna take some of that TPU 2.0 requirement and the chip restrictions out. The way it read, anyway. It's like I didn't read it all thorough, but I thought it said it's going to be an all PC update that is going to allow.
When I had in the past, when I had bought a new computer, I had left I would petition it and mainly run Linux, but I would leave Windows alone, and
Yeah.
that's it's a legitimate copy of Windows and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I might need it.
Right.
Well, I haven't needed Windows in, I don't know how long. I mean, 15 years at least. But the last brand new machine that I bought, which has been maybe 3 years ago, it came with Windows 11. I wiped it out instantly. I'm not even messing with this. I don't even care. I'm just, I don't want to deal with the updates. I don't want to deal with the Microsoft BS. Just put Linux on it. And they had BitLocker and something else. I mean, the hard drive didn't show up when I first tried, and I had to go into flipping Windows to turn off BitLocker and disable some other security crap before the hard drive would even show up so that I could install. And I'm like, I wanted to avoid all that. I just wanted to boot up Linux and just wipe it out to start with. Making me set Windows up so I could get rid of it. That makes sense.
Well, there was a guy telling me like a year or two ago that Microsoft was making deals with the manufacturers to lock A and B out, but the chips would not work with Microsoft. That you had to have Intel on a chip or whatever to be able to run software. That's kind of shady. But they're all shady anymore.
Wow. My whole Linux does seem like this last round of Windows 11 disaster or whatever. A lot of people have seemed like they have jumped on the Linux.
Well, that's,
But
if Microsoft brokered the deal, Linux wasn't gonna run on next gen chips anymore. They're gonna lock them out of the kernel access.
Yeah, that isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, well, that's
There are
make AMD
way
big
too
if
many
you throw Linux
things.
on AMD.
There are way too many things that people just don't run Windows on that are needed to make the internet work.
Yeah,
Um,
well, but that's.
and yeah, you can switch
You
to
can come
AMD.
back to the whole
in
corporate,
minutes.
the corporate machine versus public machines. Corporate's not gonna care because they're not gonna put that kind of restriction on
one of those,
corporate hardware, but that's what's crazy now is corporate hardware is almost cheaper than commercial now.
one of those
ECC
laptops
price.
that I ended up with. Oh, my dad's laptop. My dad gave me his old laptop, and I struggled getting Linux to install on it. It did it,
Yeah,
but it was not happy.
yeah,
And the desktop that I bought, it was relatively easy once I shut off all the stupid security stuff.
yeah.
But
I'm saying Windows is, I think that's a lot with the TPM and the keys being stored in the BIOS for Windows, and they're trying to lock everything out to where it's a Windows only accessible environment.
my dad had bought an old Acer, and this was even before. I mean, it's an old machine,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe just how complicated it was to actually get Linux to install. And there was one other machine, not that little tablet. There was one other machine I had that I thought back to what Steve said with that one little machine that you said you were struggling to get a Linux to install on it. It was a ARM chip or something.
Oh, now I'm still working on that.
And I sat there and I thought, well, damn, maybe Steve is onto something. It's not as straightforward as it could be or should be. But once you jump through the hoops, so you get it done, you got to get into the bias. And
Yeah.
sometimes the bias is not fun to get to. Howdy,
Hello.
we have a full audience today.
Harry, there is something for you in the cabinet. Ah, there's something for you, but it's not in the cabinet.
Yeah, I might try that little booger for something else. The plug's too big. But I think that fits the fan that's going out on my laptop. So. That's a little squirrely. I need to pop that back open and look at that. But it never has worked right. There we go. Replacement warranty laptop. Oh, IT. But the fan doesn't run right. It revs. Well, I've never sold it because it's like I'm afraid to charge anybody money for it because we keep every once in a while you turn it on, it's like fan failure. Hit F1 to
Try
reboot computer. Then we turn it off, turn it back on, it works fine. But then when it gets hot, you can hear the fan going.
That's not good.
I've never had any problems with it though, other than it just sounds weird. I've used it for years. It was the best laptop I've had in a long time.
One
I
of my
haven't blown the caps like the other two new ones have.
one of my Dells, one of the Dell machines that I've got, it comes on all the time. Fans fail, but you can hear it spinning. So
Yeah, it's not spinning fast enough.
it's not spinning. It's not spinning the way they want it to
Yeah,
spin.
not at the RPM it's supposed to be.
Fan fail. No, it hasn't.
I've got two really nice Dell laptops, but both of them have blown caps, and it's like, yeah, damn it. There's three little stupid little surface mount micro. I don't know what to do with them. I hate to pick them because they're really nice machines, but at the same time, it's like I ain't got the caps, so. I don't know how hard it is.
Pretty easy to come across.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know where to get them, order them, I guess, online somewhere and wait for them to come in,
Yeah.
and then somebody that can tweezer them out, replace them.
I can take a look. I got another
I can
station.
send you a picture. They're pretty freaking small.
Normally the tiny little caps, you don't have problems with.
Yeah.
It's the electrolytics.
Well, that's evidently they used really crappy ones. I thought when my buddy was telling me that they were full of crap, but I've watched the video and the guy was like, yeah, when this is doing this, he comes around and he goes around, it's these three right here. And I mean, they're like, the whole size of the package is probably
Smaller than that.
one of those
Yeah.
pins.
Yeah.
And there's three of them.
Nano farad stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, well, that sucks.
You remember the original Newton, the
Mhm.
Apple Newton?
Yep, I've been for a while.
Beat Martha up. Oh, it said something.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember how the joke went, but it translated to beat Martha up or something. But they
37
used
years. That cartoon's been around for 37 years.
they used surface mount caps on one of the original models. And apparently those caps go bad and cause weird issues. And the only replacements you can find are electrolytic. So you have to remove the surface mounts and very carefully get little tiny electrolytics to go back into them.
Yeah, so they must have been tantalum or something. If you need something the size of an electrolytic to replace a surface mount thing, they had to be very good caps in the first place. And those are almost always tantalum.
I don't remember, I don't know. I just know that I had one, and when I opened it up to look, I was kind of like, I ain't screwing with this. The weird thing is, I I put it on eBay. Now, this was a while ago when I was still doing eBay. Got $75 for it in the condition
Yeah.
it was in. If I could have fixed it, if it was something that I felt comfortable fixing, I probably could have gotten 200 out of it.
Huh.
But in the condition that it was in, everybody was selling them for like between 75 and $100. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Broken is worth $75. Sure, why not?
I gave one away, working.
The thing that made me sad about the one, because it came in an auction, it was about the size of his little one, but it's a Dell, I don't know, 6420 or something like that, the modern, like, I don't know what is it, the new generation. It had a proprietary hard drive in it, and they had pulled that. And I didn't feel too bad because it had dual 8 gig SODIMM chips in it. They left the RAMs, and they were like, shit, the RAM was $190 at the time. So I mean, I put those chips, I think, in one of my little mini things, but I laid it aside. I know what the chip, I found a video of the chip was, and I remember taking that chip number and punching it in the mouse, or they didn't even carry it. And that's why I never have really dug around trying to find a replacement for them. But what was the other place that used to be up near Dayton? Well, Mouser, wasn't it?
Newark.
Newark. It's gone.
It's Newark now. It wasn't.
MCM.
Yeah.
But whatever, they didn't have it either, so I was like, yeah, I don't even know what to replace it with. So I'm like, I called a buddy of mine that was into that kind of stuff, and he goes, "Oh, for $50 on it," you know, I'm like, okay. And then,
Generally speaking, if you know what the value is supposed to be with caps, you can go up a little.
yeah,
So if you can't find this exact value and it's
right. you get
33
the ballpark.
nanofarads, if you can find a 42, that'll, because those things are plus or minus 30%.
Yeah. Well, all it is, and that's what's crazy too, it's basically a buffer to the battery pack, so it doesn't come on because it can't see the battery.
It might be one of those weird ones that when they made the machine, they could get the surface mount equivalent, but now all that is available is
Through one stuff.
yeah. And then you gotta do some funky stuff to
Make it
work.
Well, it's. I never had seen it, but my buddy was telling me it's Dell had a bad run of cats from some company or whatever, and I'd never ran into it, but I think both of these boards are from that generation.
Dell and HP.
Yeah.
And it's those caps, and they probably discontinued the caps because they were bad, and it's.
Yeah, and you should still be able to find an equivalent.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I haven't dug real hard because it was like, I don't have the hard drive, but now that my main laptop did it, it's like, well, shit. And I came across the video, and it's just basically the same thing, except the caps are on the other side of the battery on this model because it's a real big one. So instead of being on the left side of the battery, it's on the right side of the battery on the board.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Same little triangle, 3 chips, and I was like, because I watched the video, I was like, shit.
That's one of the nice things now is, everybody is putting videos about how to fix
the stuff, yeah.
Fix the stuff.
Well, as I said, I'd love for the guy to show me what pins to plug in my stupid truck computer, so I could figure out what the hell's out on that. Because somewhere there's something still out. I replaced the diode that was dead, but it still won't power up.
If your screen is doing this, replace this. Oh, okay. Of course, it takes like a while to get into the case, but okay.
Well, the quality of those things is highly variable. I had a high def CRT that went pinpoint. And I looked it up on another machine and it said, oh, that's this. And they named exactly what the component was that was the problem. And I was able to go in there, find it, buy a replacement, and solder it in place, and it did repair it. Whereas the other end of the spectrum, it's like, well, it could be something.
It's definitely something.
Yeah.
I remember we had a really nice monitor go out in international paper. My boss told me to pitch it. And I was like, I ain't pitching that. And I took it home. It was just a cap, the red cap or whatever it popped. And it was like 10 cents.
Mhm.
You know, it took like 2 weeks to get it in. 30 seconds of soldering.
I went 2 years ago, 3 years ago to Monroe garage sales. I found I didn't buy it, and I'm glad I didn't buy it, but I found a monitor, curve, nice.
Oh, nice.
It was a sweet monitor, and I looked it up, and it was expensive. The guy wanted $30, $40 for it, but he said it didn't work, and I'm like, well, what's
How
it?
broke could it be?
What's it doing? And he said, well, it's just not working. Now, not working and being cracked are two entirely different things. So I
Not working and broken.
yes, I was looking at this monitor. I'm picking it up like this because it's huge, and I'm holding it up to the light, and I'm like, can we plug it in and let me see what it's doing? Oh, are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, because I'm really interested.
You want me to give you money?
I'm really interested in this monitor. Nice big divot right in the center of the screen. Looked like somebody punched it. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, I might give you $1 for this, but the panel is going to cost as much as a brand new monitor.
yeah.
90% of the cost.
Marlo's got two nice big curved monitors. They're on a monitor stand, so they're like this. I can't look at them. They make me nauseous.
What size? The
Those are like 28 inch. They're
Yeah, this
huge.
this thing was. I mean, I had my arms out like this. I can't tell what.
I'm trying to.
Get it in the light. I don't know. Can we just plug this in?
Some of the monitors will come down so much, like I can't hardly stand mine, and I'm like, it's really trying to figure out whether I want to blow more money on monitors. But
I've got a pair of 24 inch Asus. They're decent monitors. They're not great. I got her bigger monitors because she can't see well. She started talking with the Cincinnati Association for the Blind, and they came out. And she's like, I can't see these much better. So they gave her 2 of those curved monitors. Okay.
it's nice.
I'm blind.
Yeah.
So
And
Patty,
they're bigger than the 27s, so they might be 30s or 32s. I don't know.
They're big. I got a 32-inch Samsung. It was one of the really cheap ones from Sam's. The colors are a little weird because it was like then my buddy gave me like a Dell Ultra or whatever.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
But it's only like this tall, but it's like this wide, and it's like I can't. I mean, being this short is just so annoying because the fonts are so small. It's hard to read. It drives me bonkers.
Really?
I can't see it all that well.
Most of the Dell Ultras are 19.2 by 1200.
Yeah, this is like 3650 by 1400.
No,
we bought a Samsung.
It's but I mean, so the font's all like
Yeah.
sitting beside the 32-inch.
oh yeah.
It's like this size font, this size font. It's
We
like,
used to
you know,
run it at
it's like,
300%.
yeah, was that what it, yeah, crank it up. I never thought of that. I guess it could.
We,
150 is okay.
But the games-
Patty kept saying that she couldn't see her monitor, and we were down at Micro Center one day, and back in the back, they had monitors for $99. And I'm like,
Yeah,
ah, it looks like a decent monitor. I didn't realize it was a Samsung
yeah.
that I had bought. Really nice monitor for
Oh,
$99.
yeah, they make
And
cheap, nice, decent stuff, but it's not bad if you don't sit it beside something nice.
something else.
But then it's like, I don't wanna spend nice money on, because I've spent nice money on a lot of monitors and they all,
I had an Acer monitor that was a hand-me-down, and I've had it for a good long time, and it finally bit the dust. You know, I can't deal without having two monitors, at least two monitors.
yeah.
So I went and grabbed hers off of her computer, so she still had the monitor that was on the laptop to use, and I used this Samsung for about a week. Hated, absolutely hated it. The aspect ratio was wrong. Stuff with, I mean, it's kind of like I was so used to the way the Acer was. So the next week I'm down at Micro Center and I see a cheap monitor for $60, but it's a 24-inch monitor, which is the same as the old Acer,
Mhm.
and it instead of being widescreen, it's
Normal.
tall, and I'm like, yep.
Well, I want the more height and like they quit making a lot of those and it's like,
Well, it
I really, really liked the 19 2 by 1080 and 19 2 by 12.
yeah.
I have spares of those.
Yeah, well, that's, like, I still got my 27 inches and I almost wanna put them back, because
Yeah.
they're 1980 by 1080 or something
Mhm.
like that, but.
Patty was like, oh, I'm so happy to get my monitor back, and I'm like, I hated
Happy to
that.
get it back.
I hated that I mean, it was a good temporary monitor, but I like the taller aspect ratio instead of the wider aspect ratio.
So I don't, I play mostly video games, so I'd like being able to see all around.
Mhm.
So like that short widescreen thing's just weird. And I did for several years when I had the 3-matching 27-inch, I had the Ifinity, so you had the whole wrap around, you had three of those that fit, what, 5260 by 1080 or whatever,
Let's see.
but
I was sitting there thinking, you know, if I had a curved monitor, I could literally get rid of two of the monitors and just have it wrapped around. But
well, that's almost kind of like what I'd like to do at this point. It's just I'd like to go back to like a tall kind of like yay wide one screen. Because it gets a lot of software has issues with driving a second monitor and run a game simultaneously. Kind of gets a little flaky on some of the games, and especially mouse being able to get out of the screen to control the other monitor or
Yeah.
something. But
but
I don't know. I got too many machines and that's like right now I got dual mice and dual keyboards sitting there. Like half the time I'm typing on the wrong freaking keyboard anymore. And I got like 3 machines set up and I got toggling between 2 different machines on the big monitor and it's driving me bonkers.
There is a piece of software, trying to remember what it's called, but multiple machines with their own separate monitors, keyboard and mouse is one shared across it.
Yeah.
Whatever monitor has the mouse cursor on is the one that the keyboard input gives to.
Yeah.
That's handy.
is that
I
like barrier?
No, there's 3 or 4
Yeah.
different software apps that'll do, but that wireless mouse and keyboard you gave me, I think it'll do that too, but I have to install the app on
This
the other
is-
machine. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, this is an app that you have to install on each machine.
Yeah.
Basically it sets up a
Mouse
network
anywhere or
between
something
them.
like that.
The original one was called, started with an SY, not synaptic, Synergy. And Synergy got, the engine for it got open sourced, and that's on, yeah, it's on GitHub. And it is nuts. It works really well. And so you tell machine A that it sits to the left of machine B, and machine B knows that A is to the left and C is to the right. And it's in the middle. And then you can tell C that it's to the right of B,
Yeah.
and that A is to the right of it. So you can go off this screen and you end up back over here. You can adjust. Like it'll accept up to 16 different machines and monitors. And yeah, it is very cool.
Are you sure it's not Barrier? Because Barrier is based on Synergy.
No, it's not.
So I haven't looked at it.
Unless they renamed it.
I looked at some of that software a few years ago, but it wouldn't do what I wanted to do because I was, at that time, I had a lot of Mac. I had a Mac and something else, and it wouldn't work on Mac, or this one won't work on Windows. And I'm like,
I used,
or they wanted $200, and I'm like, I'm a cheap bastard. So
I used Barrier for a while and I liked it. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. But then I came across Thrusdays and it's better. I just like it better.
The rest desk is a different thing.
It's a different thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's nuts.
I
Yes,
was looking at
Desk flow.
desk flow. It's probably
Before we get too far away, and I apologize for interrupting, but you guys were talking about a curved screen and being immersed in that. It reminded me of an experience that I had when I was a teenager. I went to see a movie in Panavision. I was late getting to the theater, and the only seat that was there was in the front row. And the Panavision screen was wrapped around, and it was Dr. Strangelove was the movie. And they're flying through the mountains, and they're going this way and that way in the mountains for 10 minutes. It's like,
You're a little seasick?
you know,
well, I was a little airsick. I wasn't too much seasick, but
Dr. Strangelove would be a good one to watch on a curved screen. Yeah.
That made me feel so happy hearing you discuss being immersed in a wraparound screen.
Yeah. Well, that's there's is it Samsung makes that big Odyssey monitor or something now? They're like $1,600 though, but they're like yay big and go like this far.
Yeah.
But I kind of like one of those, but $1,600 is nuts. I'm like,
I don't know. If you buy a PC, it's going to be 4,400. So
yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's just like to replace the Dell I built, that Dell Precision. It's like 10 or 15 grand to buy the current model of it with the. It's like that's nuts.
I really don't see the need for a TV that's like that. I mean, or a computer monitor that's just huge.
Well, that I've actually started looking at like getting like a 40 or 50-inch TV and just say to hell with it, monitor.
As a monitor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sit back here.
35's good size.
With it.
And those are cheap.
Yeah.
You can buy a 35-inch TV with 4K.
Yeah.
Pretty inexpensive.
So
I mean,
I sounds the other day. Yeah, they're like $200 or something. I was because I was at Sam's and I was like, and they had the Cinco or something else, and then the Samsung on the end, and it was like you could see them all sitting beside the graphics on the Cinco was like horrifyingly horrible compared to the Samsung. And I'm like, I'm not a big fan of Samsung because of their smart software is just so bad. But as just a monitor, I was like, well, I can. I'd buying another Samsung if it's just a monitor.
My TVs are all 32-inch TVs, and that's what I usually use to set up new machines and do general work. And as a monitor, it's fine, but my own opinion, it's just it's too big for a
Well,
monitor.
I have
It's
a
just,
32-inch Samsung monitor with my work monitor, so to me it's too small for gaming. Don't see very much anymore. But I'm playing games where people are trying to kill me half the time, so it's the more real estate you can get.
half the time,
The more you can see somebody before they see you.
half the time, I think it all comes to resolution, because half the time the font is just so small, I can't see it.
Yeah.
And I have to change the resolution of something that
Is-
it would be fine if on a 27-inch monitor
Yeah.
or.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I'm down to only playing a handful of games anymore, is because there's not very many games that will let you do the chat window separate of the resolution of the game. So like Guild Wars 2, you can make the font and the chat window larger, but then that comes back into the, I like having the real estate so it's not in the main view. And that's what was the problem with the Eyefinity, is like the Eyefinity is great if you can control where you put the chat window, but some games don't let you control that. It automatically goes in this box.
See,
Well, if you got 3 screens, it's over here somewhere and you can't even see it,
so
if you need to.
we have different use cases,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, that World of Warcraft at one point had made some mods to where you could put that chat and then make it transparent, and I could put it on my main screen and down in the left corner or something. And that was all right for a little bit, but I won't give Blizzard another dollar. So
Done with Blizzard.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to depart. I've been on Zoom all afternoon, and the muddied microphone and sound is hurting my ears.
Oh, no.
Take care, Mike. Good to
Sorry.
see you, sir. Thanks for the fan.
See you next week. You're more than welcome. I found something for you who likes sharp objects. This is the camera is going to try to get it out of focus. This is I don't know whether you can see the point on that. It's a teeny tiny double-edged sharp point. I'll bring that, Steve, so you'll have something sharp to put in your pocket.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye. I'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye, Mike.
So, yeah, I see on this screen, the fonts are readable, but on my little,
Yeah,
it's just
well, that's
not
what's-
readable.
And that's what annoys me, is because I got the 2 monitors sitting beside, like I can read the left one way better than I can read the right one. And that's what, I just want a really nice one that I can use and read and do stuff on and not have to pick which one to use for what I'm doing. But then, like I said, I can tell
I
the
could-
colors are weird.
I could read the fonts even without my glasses on this one.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was thinking, just getting like a 40-something inch TV, and that Micro Center had, just as COVID hit or something.
Yeah.
There was I don't remember who was making it. Was making like a 40-inch monitor. There was a 38-inch monitor, but it was tall too. And I was like, that's what I really want. But it was like $600 or something. Like, man, I don't really want to. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for a
But-
monitor.
Well, when I was saying at the time, I had 3 $300 monitors on my desk. So I was like, oh, that's kind of,
I've always been cheap. If I could get them for $100 or less, that's a
Yeah.
good monitor to me.
well, but that's what I had bought a small office, all like matching 27-inch monitors, and they were $300 a pop. But then the main screen I had, when they upgraded, I got all the 27-inch monitors, so they all matched.
I had back in the day,
3-inch insignia.
$150.
Yeah.
I had one of the Apple Studio monitors for a while.
Oh,
From
those are so pretty.
Yeah,
that's what I was
want
gonna
those
say.
so bad, but they're $1,000 online.
I got this from some auction somewhere. It was on a pallet, and I was like, it wasn't even in my thing of what I was
Yeah,
buying, and I got it home and I hooked it up, and I was like, had to go, I had to convert it because it had the weird Apple connector, and I had to convert it. I'm like, this is going to kind of suck, isn't it? And I went, boom. Oh my gosh, this is a nice mod. Do I want to keep this or wait? Oh, it's worth this much. I think I want to sell this.
I flew out to Seattle and did some work for a buddy for a while, and he gave me a mini Mac, and then I worked in his office, and then he was a big Apple guy. It was all an Apple. Everything he had was Apple, and then we got to work on one of their, like, I don't know what size, with 27 or 30-inch. You know, when they came out with the 4K color crap and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my God, these are awesome. Of course, I didn't keep the monitor. I got to come home with the mini Mac to keep working on the project. But then it was like, and I looked at those monitors, like, they're what? Holy hell! But they're pretty monitors.
Pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, Mac makes nice hardware, but
Yeah,
they know and they charge for it.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what kills me is it's like they make bank off of it too.
Yeah,
Because I watched that guy talk about, you know, the iPhones only being like $20-30 to manufacture, and they're selling them for $1,200. It's like, good God.
Well,
Like Foxconn's like, yeah, it only cost us $25 to make these. Apple's selling them for $1,200 over here. So you're telling me it's gone up $1,180 to come across the ocean.
and if you want it the next day, it's going to cost you double that.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course, half that probably tariff right now, but I haven't bought a new phone since the i5 came out.
That palette of computers, the junk computers, part computers that I
Yeah.
bought, digging through the box of just miscellaneous. There was an iPhone in there. I have no idea what to do with it. I powered it up,
Yeah.
and it looked like it had been completely wiped out, and then all of a sudden I start getting messages to a detective, and I'm like, oh, crap. I mean, text messages are just showing up randomly, but it looked like there was no account attached to this phone, so I'm not real.
It'll be tied to the.
And there was no SIM card in it, so I'm not real sure how I was getting text messages.
Well, I mean, the ISDN number is part of the phone. It'd still be tracking that. You don't necessarily need to send anymore. They send it just for your ID and for calling out.
It was just kind of weird because it looked like it had been factory reset. I had to go through the hello screen and set up all this stuff, and I didn't set up my account or anything. And then all of a sudden, I'm just getting old text messages that they weren't. It wasn't current stuff. It was old stuff.
Well, it's probably just left on it too.
Even after a factory reset.
Well, Apple's will do that if you patch it.
Okay.
So if you do an update, it'll look like it's a clean install. And then all your stuff will still be there when you get back in.
Weird. Well,
Because it's driving one of my nuts right now because we got to re-log into everything, right? And it comes up saying hello, bonjour, and that just she's like, oh, this thing's all broke.
well, that's what when I first turned it on, and hello, and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and set up your account and all this. And I'm like,
They might have purged it or something, but then when I said the text messages would have probably still been in the buffer or something. What model?
don't remember. I think it was definitely an older model.
Is it newer than a 7?
do you still have it?
I don't remember. But if you want it, if you want it,
Because I have dedicated the 7 box and I still got a 7. So and I don't think
I know it had-
AT&T's gonna send me a new one.
I know it had
They keep
a,
telling me to come in and get a 13.
no, this wasn't anywhere close to that. I know it had a not firewire,
Not USB-C charger.
not a US,
Lightning.
lightning, fire lightning.
The Thunderbolt.
It had a lightning port on it. That's all I can really.
That means this i5 or newer. Or the i5 is the first one to have that. But they sent me this to replace my i5 because though i5 was sold as a 4G phone, it doesn't do 4G in the US because they don't use those bands in the US.
It's 4G
Let me
somewhere.
send back to that.
Yeah, so they sent me this.
So I think
But now they deprecated those in September.
Does it have the button on the front?
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think it has a button, and I think the camera setup is different.
I'm sure it became a difference in every one of them.
Single lens or multi?
I think it's got two.
Probably.
I think it's about this size though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Might be more. Cause the 8's bigger than this, and that's, my mom's old phone's an 8, and I'm about to move over to hers, cause I can't do anything on this anymore. They locked me out of the app store and then killed all my apps.
The 5 is obsolete now.
Oh, no, the 5's gone, this is a 7. They
Oh.
sent- When they went to 4G or 5G or whatever, they had to replace my phone because I couldn't do non-3G.
Remind
Since September, like September 25th, they started sending me text messages saying, you're eligible for an upgrade. And then
And
the
then
next
upgraded
day,
to a 7?
all my shit died. No, I still got the 7. They're wanting me to come trade my 7 and get something different. And, but it astounded me because, they actually said I could upgrade to like an 11 for free. But it's like, I ain't giving them any money. I said, I paid for my iPhone 5 for it to be a 4G phone, and it was never 4G bullshit. And like, why'd I spend the $500 for it? Because they didn't subsidize the 5. They did all the iPhones before that.
I'll bring you this way, and it's something you can use.
Well, it'll tell you in the thing of what in the settings what generation it is. I was just curious if you had it in the.
I don't know if I have to.
Depending on
I
how
think it
far
kind
it
of freaked
goes.
me out when it started getting
Getting
text
messages.
messages.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is I still have a removable SIM, so I can transplant this into like an 8 or 9. But then I think somewhere around 10 or 11, they have
They
a
go to
digital.
eSIMs.
Yeah,
I think they've got both up until an 11.
yeah.
I think like 8, 9, and 10 are all physical or digital.
Yeah.
I really don't know how old this is. I would have to guess it's at least 3 years old. I mean, you know how the government cycles through stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years old is nothing for an iPhone.
I don't remember if I've got an actual SIM in this thing. No.
Oh, I mean, you'd still be on. I'd still be like a 12 at 3 years old or 13. They usually they'll do like 12, 12S, 13, 13S, 14, 14S.
I was just kind of surprised because, I was digging through the box and
There's fun.
what's this? Oh, it's an iPhone. Oh, it's not charged. Of course, it's not charged.
It's a hot phone. Somebody's trying to dump it because they murdered somebody.
Well, I was like,
Why you getting messages from a detective going,
and then I start getting text messages that says we're going to be in court Monday or whatever. I'm like, no, you're not.
Probably an officer's phone.
Well, I'm 90% sure it was a detective. So,
Oh, it's funny. I was reading an article last night. Computer shop. The guy had brought in a laptop. The drive had been pulled out of the machine, and the guy had worked for the government or something, said that, the drive had been purged, but data, he was trying to data recover or something, or it was a data recovery shop, a little shop, that he brought it into. And he's like, all right, well, so the guy didn't want it, said it was blank, whatever. Anyhow, he got to messing around with the data recovery tool and started pulling files off. And it wasn't supposed to be able to pull files off, and it was had all this evidence or something on it, and the guy started freaking out, and But it was interesting because they were talking about because it was something to do with some kind of fraud count case.
Yeah.
And the guy was like freaking out that they were getting data off of it.
Well, if you don't really know how to erase the data.
Yeah, that's
Hello, Moto.
So apparently, I have a physical card in it and a 16 gig SD. I thought I had a 64.
I don't have an SD card in mine.
Mom, but she switched to there for one point in time. They got her to switch to a Samsung, and that had the extra SD card, like a 256 gig SD card in it.
My dad, who he is doing a whole lot better than he was, but he is like purging all his old stuff. He gave me an old Samsung Galaxy phone and a whole bunch of an old Fire tablet, which isn't old at all. It's one of the newer 10-inch tablets, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to get rid of this?" And he gave me his old laptop, and he's trying to find the old desktop, which I think he got rid of years ago, but we'll just leave that alone. And he's purging a bunch of stuff because he just wants to get rid of it, simplify his life. But the Galaxy, they could not remember the password to it. They could not remember the code or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, so I go and do hold the power button down, hold the power button and the volume down, and go to factory reset. It factory resets, and it comes up and says, enter your ID. And I'm like, what? So they have done just exactly. You can't get around it unless you know what the original password was to get into it.
Well, that's probably to decrypt it. You should still be able to wipe it.
No, I factory reset it. I Googled it after the fact, and sure enough, Samsung does funky stuff. They lock it to a single person, and if you forget your code or your password or whatever it is they're asking for, you're pretty much SOL.
Well, okay, so if it does like what Apple does, where you can tie the hardware to your Apple ID,
Yeah.
then it's just prompting, but you should be able to bypass that and go under somebody else's ID. I don't know what Samsung does, but
Except that when it doesn't even give you the startup screen or it just pops up and says, it looks like you reset this device. If this was you, type in your password.
so it needs to be released from Samsung's
And I'm like,
manager.
oh crap.
That's the reason why I don't go out and buy iPads, because if they're tied to an Apple account, you can't do anything with it, and you'd have to track down whose it is and
And
tell
they
them to
cannot,
release it from their Apple ID so you can use it.
and they cannot remember. I mean, dad is nearing 90 and his wife is 80-ish. They cannot remember the password. That is,
Well, but you wouldn't really need the password, you just need to go into their
they
Google account.
they
and
can't
release
they can't remember. They don't even remember having a username.
Yeah.
They don't remember doing any of this. It's like, oh,
You can recover that with the cell phone number probably,
maybe, but
or the device maybe.
they don't remember. they don't remember any of it, and I'm kind of like, nah. This is it's an old Galaxy, it's probably not worth screwing with.
But the security's horrible on Samsung, you should be able to pop it, but. Yeah. I mean, you could even pop the 15. Biometric crap, really.
If they had set up biometric, it probably would have been simple. I probably could have just gone, give me your finger.
Well, no, I've got procedures on how to recover that, and it's just a matter of turning it on, you hot swap the SIM card,
It doesn't
do a
have, it,
puke code, and you can create a new puke code and punch in whatever number you want, and then turn it off, turn it back on, takes the code that you punched in.
well, it's just interesting. It's just like, first time I've had a cell phone that I could not get around, so. And even going into the recovery position didn't seem to fix it.
It's
we-
weird.
Yeah.
We had one of our Apple Pro laptops. And the graphic artist that was using it, that they fired, she had tied it to her Apple account. So we couldn't, and then I told them to get the password when she turns it in. And she turned it in, nobody asked her for the password, left it there, and then she left. We couldn't do anything with that box. And Joe figured out how to get into the BIOS and re-image it. And then we still couldn't do anything because it'd come up with the log into this Apple ID.
That's more or less
We
what,
don't have her login password
that's more or less what
or her
this,
Apple account, because we did not tie it to a company ID. You can call Apple, and Apple, like pound salt, you should have put it in your corporate account.
right.
And
Well, that's more or less what this Samsung does. I did the factory reset, which basically should erase everything and start over. The very first screen, I mean, you get the Samsung Galaxy screen, the boot screen, but the very first screen, it's put in your, this phone has been locked, put in your Samsung account to unlock.
yeah, if you pull the SIM,
It doesn't have a SIM in
well, then smack in a different one when it's on, and it should let you punch in a new code. Allegedly, like I said, I haven't played with a Samsung in a long time, but I'd be really shocked that that's not backwards compatible on the older version, since it was a vulnerability in one of the newer ones. Because it'll force a puke code replacement.
I could try it, I suppose. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to try, but it's an old phone and it's probably not worth screwing with.
Yeah, as I said, depends on what model it is, if you want to mess with it or not, but.
I thought at very
Makes a good
least,
surveillance camera if you want, because it's got Wi-Fi and everything built into it.
I was thinking about taking it to one of those kiosks at Walmart and getting $1 for it, just because.
Some places give you pretty decent to trade it in on something else.
Well, not without the password.
Not your problem.
It's not my problem. Yeah, my dad gave me this. I have no idea.
Take it to your provider store and knock $100 off your next one.
Yeah, my provider store is online and doesn't exist.
Not using a T-Mobile or
Mint.
Mint.
I'm using Mint, and they don't have stores. They don't have traditional stores. Yeah. They have.
But they're nicer, right?
Well, they're
Price wise.
$15 a month.
Yeah, they're really good price wise.
So,
I would much rather spend $15 a month and not have a store.
Yeah.
And their customer service is really good.
$50 a month for a phone that's as old as mine.
Well,
Driving me nuts.
I mean, their customer, I've only had to call their customer service twice, and both times, whatever my issue was fixed within like 20 minutes. I mean.
Well, I don't think I've ever called it. I've never had a problem that restarting the phone didn't fix.
Well, the first time I called, I just wanted to make sure that if I bought a new phone, that moving the SIM over, and the lady was like, "Oh yeah, that's not going to be a problem. And hang on, let me check." Blah blah blah. Yeah, your phone number is valid to go in any phone as long as we're on the list of supported carriers. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I think
And the second time, no, I think that time she asked me, is it an eSIM or is it a physical SIM? And I said it's a physical SIM. She said, yeah, you're not going to have any problem. Just move it over. So the other time, I think I wasn't connected to the internet or something, and it was a problem with their service, and I don't know really what they did, but about 20 minutes later it started working, and I was like, okay.
I don't remember well, but I'm pretty sure when I got this one, since I had my old phone working, I just powered it up and it said, "This is your new phone. Is your old phone working? Place it near here."
Yep.
And did its thing took it quite a while because I got a lot of stuff on the phone.
Yeah.
That's why I was surprised I had a 16 gig chip in there. I thought I had more.
Yeah. The Android transfer was nice and smooth and easy. You just,
Yeah.
you got your own phone? Yeah. You got your new phone? Yeah. Put them next to each other. Do you want to do this? Yeah. Okay, leave me alone for a while and I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Ray. Ray's late again. I mean, you got 6 minutes, and supposedly we have to be out of here at 7 because supposedly people are getting the room at 7. But I don't see anybody standing out there waiting, so. And Ray's not talking.
Yes, I still loading.
I'm
here.
This phone is down to $129.
What's going on, Ray?
Only thing
I just drove in
um,
from
it doesn't have
Kentucky. I was in St. Louis
charging,
before that,
and I thought I can fix that.
and spent all day yesterday, half day today in Kentucky, rebuilding a laser.
So
Yeah.
you should be pretty tired just driving so much.
Well, I get to reload my van and then head up to New York.
Oh,
And I got New York tomorrow, and then Kent State on either late Friday or early Saturday.
where in New York are you heading? You going?
It's actually the very southwest edge of New York, so it's like near Erie, Pennsylvania, the corner of Ohio.
Erie. You'd be closer to Youngstown than it would be Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Akron,
Go through Youngstown, then Erie. Then
Akron, yeah.
No,
I don't
Akron's
remember.
just on the other side of Akron, sort of.
Akron's up that way.
Akron's by Toledo.
No, Akron's south.
No, Akron's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In
Closer
the
to
northeast
Cleveland.
corner.
Sorry.
but
Yeah,
then you go on up through Youngstown and then you hit Erie, and then I don't know what the first town is in New York.
I'm sitting there going, wait, I have
Buffalo's
been
the
to
first
Akron
big town.
many times, and I don't think I've ever gone to Toledo to get to Akron.
No.
Aunt and uncle live in Syracuse. We made that drive so many times. But I can never remember the only first town I can remember in New York is Buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
After
been to
Erie, it's
Buffalo a few
Buffalo, and
times.
then it's Syracuse. So I was like,
But I mean, the only time that I was in Toledo and I needed to go to Akron, I was actually in Detroit. So of course I took the
80.
the toll road over over and down. Over to Cleveland and then down, but that's the only time I've ever been near Toledo to get to Akron.
My buddy lived in Akron for a while when he was in college and then went into the army.
So,
Well, go up there a lot and then. You ever watched what was that Coomer and what's his name? Go to White Castles or something.
Oh, Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah.
So we went up, I went up there and visited with him. We wanted to do White Castles. Only it was from Akron, the nearest White Castles is in Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
And it was, I don't know, like a freaking like Thursday or something. So the only one still open was in the industrial park in Cleveland on the northwest side somewhere. We had no idea where the hell we were going. I think it was like 1 a.m. or 1:30 before we finally found it. By like the other side of an airport or something.
my
It was freaking hilarious.
back
It took us like 3 hours to find this. It felt like that movie so bad, it was hilarious.
back in the day, when we were buying a lot of stuff off of W, my partner sent me down to some island down off in Florida, way the hell down there, Mosquitoville. The island closed at a certain time, so you had to get there before then, and the road closed. You could not get off the island if you were trapped.
Yeah.
It was some sort of government research thing down there.
One-way trip.
And I get down there and I am like 20 minutes before they close. And I call this guy up and he said, if you can get here right now, you might have just enough time to get your stuff and get off. They close the island. We cannot leave. And I don't want to be on this island overnight. And I'm like, okay. So I hurried and I got down there, I got my stuff. Barely got off the island. Barely got off that island. They were just pulling the gates down when we were cruising out.
Nice shades there, Ray.
Ray's playing with all kinds of filters. Then I'm heading home, and my partner, he calls me up on the phone and he goes, where are you at? And I think I'm just getting to Georgia by then. And he goes, I'm in Georgia. He goes, oh, good. I need you to detour to go up to South Carolina.
It's not on the way.
You buy? Oh, I bought a bunch of stuff. It's already paid for. You just need to pick it up. Well, they already know you're coming. I'm like, okay. So I swing my way around and get up to that. And I'm heading home and I'm heading back and I'm get a phone call. Where are you at? Oh, I'm just getting to West Virginia. Oh, good. I need you to pick up some stuff in Virginia or somewhere. It was another place that was not in the direction I was going. It was going the other direction. What did you buy now? Oh, don't worry.
It'll fit.
It'll fit. It's good. Okay. It's already paid for. They know you're coming. I get a phone call. I pick up the stuff in Virginia. I get a phone call. Where are you at? I'm coming home. No, you're not. I just bought a plotter in New York City. So I'm not even close. Okay, I guess I'm kind of close, but I'm not even
That close.
that close.
That sounds like
I was
Vickers.
cussing him when I got to New York because the traffic in New York is just horrid. But the people were nice. They brought the plotter down from this 72-story skyscraper that I would have had to go up. And I just parked in the street. They said, just park in the street. We'll put it in the back of your van. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
And so I did. I'm coming home, and I guess I'm heading whatever that is through Pennsylvania. I get another phone call. I said, no, I'm not going. Because, well, you're going to eventually hit Cleveland. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to eventually get to Cleveland. HDR has a bunch of stuff, HDR surplus. They sell industrial surplus. So I've already called our HDR rep. He's gonna have it all waiting for you. You just need to give him some money when you get there. And I'm like, I ain't got no money. You sent me, I was supposed to go down to Florida and come back. I had the money for gas to go to Florida. I've been on the road for 3 days. I've stopped at 2 hotels. I have no money. So, oh yeah, I guess that's true. Hang on, I'll send you some money. Oh crap. What the hell did he buy? I get to HDR and we could barely get, he had bought another van full of stuff. I could barely get it into the van. I almost had to rent a U-Haul to bring all the crap home.
You needed a truck.
I needed a truck. Oh, the minivan I had would have been fine for, the first 2, maybe even the 3rd stop. But he's just kept piling more and more stuff on. And then I'm coming out of Cleveland and I'm hauling butt. He calls me up. So where are you at? I said, I am in Columbus. And he goes, no, you're not. It's only been an hour. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm not doing the speed limit. I'm coming home. He said, yeah, I think you're coming home because I found more stuff in Akron or somewhere. I'm like, I don't care. I'm coming home.
When I was younger, I enjoyed driving a lot.
It wasn't the driving so much. It was all the unplanned stops. It was all the.
Mine were all planned. When I worked at the printing company, every 6 months I had to make a tour of all of the offices. And that was the entire East Coast, St. Louis, Nashville, Atlanta. It was kind of fun.
It wasn't. See, that was one reason why our partnership worked so well, because he didn't like to drive unless it was real close. I like to drive. I enjoyed that. He liked to shop. He liked to get online and find stuff that we could hopefully turn a profit on and make it worth the while that I was actually out driving. And so the partnership worked well, but it was usually we had it lined up so that I knew where I was going. It wasn't
ad hoc or middle.
yeah.
Like,
Where you at? Oh, I'm here. Okay. One day he did that to me and I had passed the place up. It was in Nashville, I think, or right near Nashville. And I had passed him up and he was like, this is a good deal. We really need to do this deal. The guy, it was 1 o'clock in the morning and said, the guy is willing to meet you. You got to go back and get this. He knows you're traveling. He knows all this stuff. You got to go back and get it. And he was right. We got this huge ass plotter for like $20 and there was nothing wrong with it.
Nice.
And we sold it for 30 grand or something. And we quote unquote gave it away at the 3 grand price. But it was, I don't want to go back. I'm almost home.
Nashville is a neat little city. Everybody's heard of it. It must be big. You go there and you've driven through. What? Wait.
I sneezed. I missed it.
And I I didn't mind Nashville so much. In New York, God, I hate driving in New York. The city just is not full. So,
Yeah.
I don't really see anybody coming, but it is after 7.
Yeah.
We do technically only have a room till 7. I don't know. So. Do I call it? Should we call it? Should we call it a day? I think we should call it a day. We should be virtual next week, so everybody. Better coffee, better work. Nice. All right. I'll see everybody next week, hopefully.
Bye, next week.
Next week.